All right, let's talk more about the virus's impact on tourism in South Africa. We're joined by TUT Tourism lecturer Unathi Henama. Thanks for your time, Unathi. I appreciate it. So before we actually speak about the impact, let's talk about the number of Chinese visitors we get into South Africa so we can put it all into perspective.
China is the number 5 on international tourism markets that comes to South Africa. So it is a major market. Since around about 2008, when we had the global recession, our policy was that we must be moving more to the east because more than 70% of our arrivals have been coming primarily from the west. So going to the east, India, China was obviously a very good strategy to try and ensure that the tourism industry is quite robust. So it is a very major, big market that obviously would be impacted by this.
And given that, that means if China puts restrictions on people leaving the country, that impacts on our tourism and it costs our economy.
It costs our economy because for each and every 10 tourists that arrive here, one permanent job is created because it's a very, very labor-intensive sector. But remember, this is happening possibly at the worst time for the Chinese because it's during their Christmas period, their lunar period. So they are cash-laden and they cannot travel. I hope that the virus does not go on for too long so that we can still be able to capitalize on the cash-ladenness of them not being able to travel. So let's hopefully wait to see that outcome of this being a quick response.
Yeah, how much money are we talking about? Millions, of course, because we're seeing so many people not being able to come to South Africa. Is it actually a popular time, January, Feb, anyway?
It is a popular time. Remember, we attract around about 10 million tourists every year, and we've been sitting around about 10 million. We are trying to attract 20 by the year 2030. If there is a 500,000 dip in arrivals just from China, that will have a major, major impact on South Africa's tourism industry. And considering the poor economy of South Africa, domestic tourism has been having a big knock. And obviously we've been more dependent on one, international arrivals, and secondly, regional arrivals from Africa. So this obviously will have a very, very negative impact on the tourism value chain.
Now, we haven't put a block on any flights coming from China or any other country as South Africa. Is our government doing the right thing in that regard? Because, you know, they would argue that they have proper measures in place to screen people.
I believe our government is taking the right decision not to put any travel ban, and because also other partner countries are working together to also screen those people. But considering that it can take up to 2 weeks to detect the virus, South Africa must obviously ensure that whoever has been to China, there is obviously proactive tracking of those people to ensure that they don't develop any symptoms associated with the virus.
Once we get past this and we can contain the virus, I see that there are talks about scientists working on a cure for it, which would take 2 months to even get. How do then we try to get these Chinese tourists to come to South Africa at a later stage?
You know, times of crisis are actually times that are pregnant with opportunity. We must always be marketing ourselves to the Chinese market right now because we must always be at the top of mind that we are a bucket list destination and it is a country where you should visit as a Chinese. But again, it also teaches us as a country that next year, why don't we try to invite the Chinese to come and enjoy their new year here? You know, let that be a proactive step in trying to obviously speak to our partner, BRICS partner, to obviously come and bring more tourists to South Africa.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.